All right, we're gonna be reacting to the hottest Blue Lock takes. With over 200 submissions and some of the hottest takes I've ever seen about the series, we're gonna be going over and rating them from ice cold, everyone agrees with you, to very hot, nobody agrees with you. Some of these takes surprised even me. With these questions and thoughts about Blue Lock, there might even be takes that change your opinion about the series, so let's get into it. We're starting off with a super controversial one. When I read this, I already knew it was gonna make people divided. This take is Isagi's U20 goal was mid. The game-winning goal for one of the best arcs was called mid in this take. For the explanation, they just talked about how his goal was the least impressive, just a direct shot compared to goals like Shido, where he was a bicycle kicking across the field. Short and simple explanation here. Now, I gotta say, I think this is a hot take, not even very hot, because I've actually seen some people previously agree with this. However, in my opinion, I think this goal was perfect for Isagi specifically. Yeah, it wasn't too flashy, but he scored it off his reading of the game, and that's what made it special. The fact that it was building up to this silent moment of him appearing at the right moment at the right timing, and the anime did this goal so perfectly with the adaptation. I kinda see what they mean, how the actual goal itself wasn't that impressive. But even then, I still think it was, so I have to disagree. I mean, come on, in overtime, last minute, he read the game perfectly. I personally think Isagi's goal was one of the best in the U20, so I would say this is definitely a hot take. Now, this next hot take is for the anime fans, coming from Ellen the Goofy, saying Blue Lock Season 2 is better than Blue Lock Season 1. This is a very hot take in my opinion, because I think both have their strengths and weaknesses, depending on what you're looking at. Season 2 overall, like remembering the animation problems, cutout scenes, everything that had to do at the beginning of it, I think Season 1 easily clears and takes the cake here. But Season 2 had such a high peak with the finale that it puts up a good fight against Season 1 just from that one sequence alone, which really tells you how good the finale was for Season 2, but that shouldn't be taking away from Season 1 as well. If y'all were watching it during that time, the 2022 World Cup was happening. Blue Lock gained a bunch of new fans from the anime. Season 1 was honestly monumental for the series, but if we're talking about specifically the anime, the story, and what happened in the seasons, comparing both of them, it's still a pretty decently close debate. Like, Season 2 had a better story arc to cover with the U20 match, but Season 1 was very unique to people. I still think overall, Season 1 is stronger than Season 2. You had the pre-selection test, the Team V game, second selection, all of that content was packed into Season 1 and was adapted pretty well in my opinion. Again, that doesn't take anything away from Season 2. The very high highs they had with the finale and some of the goals was super amazing. All right, number 3 is a topic everyone talks about for Blue Lock, the new Gen 11, and this hot take says Lorenzo is number 1, Kaiser is number 2, and Itoshi Sai is number 3. These keep getting more and more intense. I've made a new Gen 11 video before, and it's debatably one of the hardest videos I've ever made because they all play at different positions and are better at certain things than others. However, the explanation here is that Lorenzo has better dribbling than Sai and can shut down opponents easily. Kaiser has spatial awareness equal to Sai and has a higher scoring capability than him. Sai has decent overall stats, but he has to rely on other players to score. So I guess out of the 3, Sai has proven the least. Honestly, I never thought about it that way, and that's what I'm saying. These hot takes can change your opinion. Now, I still think Sai is a fantastic player, especially considering his little brother, who considers him better, is literally running through the NEL. But in terms of feats, Lorenzo and Kaiser would have a harder time playing against an upgraded version of Blue Lock, and they still perform against them, these actual U20 teams, so arguably you can make that debate. Sai has really only played against the U20 version of Blue Lock, but you can also argue that he didn't try hard yet compared to Kaiser, and because of that, he's one of the best. It's literally so hard to choose between the 3. I can't even lie, I can't think of an answer right now, so let me know in the comments your opinion, ranking the new Gen 11 from worst to best, and while you're down there, you might as well hit the subscribe button for everything Blue Lock, because this is genuinely one of the hardest debates that changes as we get more and more chapters of any of the new Gen 11s. If I had to give it a rating though, I would say hot, because a lot of people have different opinions on them and where they rank the new Gen 11. Now, number 4 was one that instantly stuck out to me, and this is that Shido is the best striker. Now, debating the best striker is always a hard debate. I mean, it's literally the point of Blue Lock, because you gotta also think, are they talking about individually the best striker, or are they saying team-wise the best striker? But you play football with a team, so it doesn't even matter individually. Basically, the explanation for this take was that in terms of pure striker instinct and physical capabilities, Shido is the best pure goal scorer in Blue Lock. Now, I can't argue against his weapon. It was literally made for scoring. In fact, I think that's literally his whole character. But as the best overall striker, I don't necessarily agree individually and in a team environment. In Blue Lock specifically, the strikers have to go through many hurdles, like Isagi going through Rin, Rin going through Isagi, Shido getting over Kunigami. So it's not just about who has the best weapon for scoring, and we haven't really seen that from Shido, which limits his goal scoring capabilities even more. Again, you're playing with 11 players in the game, so even if you're the best individual goal scorer, if you're not putting yourself in opportunities to score, then we can't really say you're the best. I think Shido is one of the best. I mean, his character is literally supposed to be that, and he's ranked number 4 right now, so he's definitely proved it. Saying that Shido is the best striker, though, compared to the rest, is a pretty hot take. I'm not sure if many people would agree with that, and I definitely don't. For our 5th Blue Lock hot take, this is Igaguri will make the top 23. Now, this is obviously referring to the U20 World Cup team for Japan. There wasn't any explanation for this hot take, but half of me kind of agrees with it, and half of me is saying we gotta stop the cope. In my top 23 video, I said Igaguri would survive. This was before he got subbed out of the pitch, so at the time, it was a little more believable. He did only have around like a few minutes of playtime, but even then, Igaguri faked 2 fouls and stopped the Rin's Destroyer mode, which is a huge feat, by the way. And when you compare it to the other Joe Schmoes who haven't really done much, like Tokimitsu, who literally hasn't done anything, Zantetsu, who only just started getting highlight, and Kiora, who only had 1 assist, Igaguri actually stands out a little with his feats. The only thing harming him is the fact that he doesn't have a current salary compared to all the other players. At this point, I think Igaguri will still survive in Blue Lock, but as a commentator or a hot dog seller during the Blue Lock games, I'm not really sure. He'll still be in Blue Lock, just not in the top 23 or the World Cup team. So I have to disagree with this take, unfortunately, as much as I do want to see him survive because it would be funny. Although I do see a lot of people who actually think Igaguri will survive the top 23 still, so I would say this is a mild take. It's not too far out there. Number 6 is about the Neo Egoist League, and specifically the Ubers, coming from a Barou Blazer, very fitting name by the way. Ubers is the best team in the NEL and only lost because of the Rin Sagi rivalry. Now, honestly, this is a legendary take. I can get behind this. As a team, their performance was actually crazy good, which made it a seesaw match between them and Bastard. I would say Snuffy is the best coach and a master striker as well. I mean, their plan was to literally stall him until the timer runs out. They had a new Gen 11 player, a 5-star defense line, Sendo being very underrated, and of course, a Barou to lead the charge. I honestly agree that Ubers is one of the best teams. Again, I'm saying one of the best teams, like they work together well. On paper, PXG is probably the most stacked, with Shido, Rin, Charles, Karasu, and everyone else. However, PXG for the most part was just the Rin show. So as a team, Ubers beats out PXG in my opinion, even though they lost to them in the NEL. Comparing to Bastard might be a way more difficult debate. You do have Isagi, Kaiser, Hiyori, Gagamaru, but even then, I still think Ubers is better than them. Before Ubers even started, everyone said Bastard was going to lose this game because of Ubers' lineup, and the fact it would have motivated them to win against PXG. After the Manshine match, which I'm not sure how many people were reading at the time, we still didn't have any Hiyori development. Kaiser was still D1 hating on Isagi, and Isagi just unlocked Metavision and could only use it for a certain time. Obviously, that all switched up during the Ubers game. We see Hiyori getting a bunch of development, Isagi using Metavision for literally the whole match, when he was tired after using it in Manshine for 5 minutes. So I would say it's not outlandish to think Ubers is the best team. They only lost to Bastard because of plot. It's still really close between Bastard and Ubers. You could probably go either way. If Isagi didn't get all those buffs though, the power of friendship with Hiyori, infinite Metavision, and lefty direct, I think Ubers would have had a way easier time. I would say it's a pretty mild take considering Bastard is the only debate for them for the best team. Number 7 is about the Lazy Genius genius, and this is Nagi has a far bigger potential than Rin. Bakano also clarifies he's not a Nagi glazer. Now, this debate is only hard because Rin is one of the best players and keeps getting power-ups like he's in Super Mario World. In general, though, Nagi is known to literally be the potential man of BLUELOCK. He's the Megumi of BLUELOCK. He's been playing for less than a year at this point, and he's already at the U20 level, in fact, having a world-class weapon. The bigger question is whether Nagi will reach that potential or not. But I would say this is more of a colder take that people can get behind, and Nagi does have the most potential in the series. For number 8, it's another character-specific one, this time referring to Kunigami by Asta Peng. This take says Kunigami will score the final goal in the PXG versus Bastard game. His explanation is that it'll redeem his character, be a shocking way to end the arc, and they can use the wild card, otherwise it would be a waste of a character. Going over this take one by one, I don't think Kunigami will score the final goal. However, I do think Kunigami should have scored at least one here. It could have been the first goal or maybe even the last goal if they gave him development. But now it's obviously leaning towards Ness, Isagi, Kaiser, and Rin having the endgame spotlight. I will say the wild card was such a waste of potential. It would have been a perfect place to place it in this match because of his rematch with Shido. I do think Kunigami will get development later down the line, so there isn't too much to worry about. It's obvious the priority isn't and hasn't been on him for a while, so he'll probably get his spotlight later. This take is kind of in the middle because I agree it would be a waste of his character for the NEL, and they already have wasted him, I'm not gonna lie, but I also don't think he'll score the last goal, so mild in the middle. Number 9 is about a character people love or hate. There is no in-between for him. From Benson, they say Kira should come back to BLUELOCK. If you need a refresher on who Kira is, not from Death Note, but from the start of the series, the first eliminated player. Now, Kira was the highest ranked in the facility. Granted, it was a fake ranking, but he had some titles to back it up, like the Jewel of Japan. I do think, though, that Kira getting eliminated was more to show BLUELOCK's philosophy, like they don't mess with that power of friendship stuff and teams, also showing that you need an ego in order to survive. It would be cool to see him make an appearance, though, like watching one of the games. It would be a good callback to the first chapter of the series. However, I don't think he should come back to BLUELOCK. I honestly see a lot of people agree with this take, though, saying Kira should play for a different national team and come back as a rival, either proving a BLUELOCK's philosophy wrong or taking revenge on Isagi. I'm not gonna lie, it kind of sounds outlandish, but I guess mild take. People agree and disagree with it. These actually are the craziest hot takes, I'm not gonna lie, because number 10, our final hot take for now, is Isagi is not fit to be a striker. So ending up with a bang, because this has been a debate since the second selection days, the dawn of time. The argument is that Isagi is more fit to be a midfielder, just the way he plays and thinks, and almost every weapon for him is tuned to midfield, especially Metavision. There are other strikers as well with better weapons for specifically scoring. Shido, Rin, Nagi, all those players. That's pretty much the debate for why Isagi shouldn't be a striker. However, that Isagi fits as a striker debate is all about his impact on the game. He's still scoring goals even without those insane weapons. And even though he's not individually on par with the other strikers or players, that everyone knows, there's no doubt about it, you have a team to play around with, which is what matters the most. Take, for example, if Isagi scored more goals in a match than Shido, and the point of a striker is to score goals, would you say Isagi is a worse striker than Shido? There's probably some people that will still say yes, that Shido is a better striker, but I think what matters more is the impact on the game. Even if you're individually better, as long as you can still score goals, get upfield, and use your abilities well, that's what matters more rather than having an insane weapon. I feel like the plot backs this up, and I mean, it's literally what the PXG game is about. You have two geniuses going against two talented learners, and Isagi is having to get over Loki and Rin, who have these insane weapons, yet he's able to be on the same playing field as them. So I would say on paper, yes, it would make more sense for Isagi to be a midfielder rather than a striker just because of his abilities, but he still plays the striker position extremely well, just as good as any of the other players, so I would say he's fine as he is. Now I think this is leaning a little more towards a mild hot take, because people are starting to see Isagi as a striker now, but a lot of people still do believe that Isagi is better fit as a midfielder, and it makes sense. There's a lot of evidence for both sides. All right, those are some of the hottest Blue Lock takes I've picked out. Some of them even had me thinking for a while. Thank you to everyone who submitted hot takes. There were over 200 hot takes, so I'm sorry if I wasn't able to get to yours, and it's near impossible to fit them all into one video. So to fix that, I'll be covering the other hot takes I didn't pick on stream, so maybe there's a chance you'll still get selected, so be sure to check those out, especially since we'll have the chat to discuss with as well. Anyways, I enjoyed making this video a lot. Pretty different than the usual theory. This is a lot of discussion, so maybe I'll make more of these in the future. If you watched to the end though, thank you so much for watching, and I'll see y'all in the next one.